Hey everyone, it's Thursday night live with Ken, me, Series 7 Whisperer, or Capital Vintage Tutoring, whatever you want to call it. Welcome on. Happy Thursday. I do have a surprise guest on here, but let me do some cleanup stuff first. And come on, let's ask some good questions for this guy. It's going to be rock solid. I just got back from Philly, and boy, are my arms tired. So now, let's go over a couple of things. If you're taking the test, and you can ask this other guest what he thinks too, but I always do this one. If you're taking the test tomorrow, what do I say? Get the F off my live, right? Don't be on here. If you're taking it Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whenever later, you want to take tests up until the day before, not the day out, not the day before, but up to before that. And then the day before, you're just reading and adding knowledge. Okay. That's all we're doing. You're just reading and adding knowledge on the day before. None of that stuff. Now, here's a couple things. So if you want some free resources, right, the first thing we have is the FINRA exam prep, right? FINRA, the Facebook group, FINRA exam prep with Help from Capital Advantage Tutoring. If one of you guys can come up with a better name for that, I'm happy to do that. Okay. So now the next part is, okay. Oh, good. We got some people chatting already. I love this. So join the FINRA group. We have chats for every test. It's free stuff. Also, free resources, obviously my channel. You can go check out Susie Rhodes at Passmaster. You can check out Brandon Rith over at Basic Wisdom and stuff like that. LinkedIn, how are you? That's the one thing, guys. If you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, sometimes we can't see who you are. So listen, let me do this. I'm going to actually let my guest, answer some of these questions already. So let's get into this. I'm going to bring on the one, the only, Brandon Rith from Basic Wisdom. He's the writer. He wrote all the achievable stuff. He's out in Colorado, Denver, right?
I am. That's where I'm.
Love stuff. So, Brandon, say hi to everyone, and you can see the chat, all right? Right?
I can, and okay. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ken. Good to see everyone, and yeah, glad to be here and hopefully help you answer some questions. Getting a lot of chat already.
It's starting already.
Right?
Look, Maria's here. Maria loves you, by the way. You helped her pass the 7. I think you helped her. She was struggling so much, and then I think she met you the day before.
Maybe. Yeah. I've had a couple Maria clients.
She's over Edwardsville.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the first question we have. Okay. So here's can you see me? Can you see it pop in?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. From 6 Point Studios.
Yep.
Yeah. So scoring in the 80s of 5 exams. I'm struggling to retain and improve. What should they be doing? I'll watch all your videos, read the book. Do I keep spamming exams? I expect, Ken, we'll probably have maybe a little bit of a variance in opinion on some of these things.
Right.
If we're, I'm assuming that they're through whatever program that they've already that they have access to. And when I say through, I mean read all the reading material, taken all the quizzes, and they're towards the end and taking practice exams. They're taking 5. For the Series 7, I think a minimum of 5 practice exams is really important. I try to stress this to everyone. When you're taking practice exams, it is so important to do a good quality review of every single practice exam that you take. That's one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make, which is just, all right, take a practice exam. I don't like the score. I review for 10 minutes and I jump to the next one. Why aren't my scores improving? I'm not sure if that's the case with 6 Point Studios, but that may be my biggest recommendation to them is do a good, thorough review of your exams. When I say a good, thorough review, that means, hey, cross-reference the reading materials. If you're seeing, I'm getting options questions wrong, use Ken's videos or look at some of my videos. I think you probably just need some more practice exams. Make sure you do that good quality review. I don't know, Ken, do you have any different advice?
Look, I think we're not as far off as you think we are, right? So I'm a big fan of taking a lot of tests, but not the day before, right? 1 a day. And like Brandon said, when you get done with the test, you review every single question, even the ones you get right. So like he said, a deep dive on the review. So I kind of organize it to this way. And I'm not organized. We know that. So I'm telling you, 6 Point, he's got it down, right? So I say go over your questions. Anything that you got right because you guessed, mark it as a G, and know that you have to review that because treat that as a wrong answer. Anything you got wrong because you misworded it, maybe you don't worry about it as much. Boom. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. So 6 Point, I hope that helps. I think we're good. So, okay. So let's go. So Sean is taking, I think, the SIE. I think it's the SIE, Sean, right? On Monday. I think she missed it once before, if I remember right. And we're gonna be supportive. We're gonna go right behind you. Both of us, we're gonna drag you across the finish line, right?
Good luck on Monday.
There we go. Okay. So here we go. Okay. Here's a good one. how about this one? I tell people if they're taking it tomorrow, get off my live. What are you doing on here? So what would you do the night before, Brandon?
Oh man. I mean, if we're talking
Say
the
you're
night
passing your
before, I mean,
exam. Let's assume you're passing your exams.
If it's 8:30 at night, I'm telling you to put your materials down. My biggest advice the night before the exam is your homework assignment is a good night of sleep. Maybe before that, really take your mind off the material. I think most of us want to just stay glued to our books and take another quiz. At that point, I mean, think about how much work you've done up to this point to adequately prepare for the exam to get hopefully the good scores in your practice exams that you're seeing. Another couple hours of studying is not going to make that much of an impact. In fact, it might have a negative impact on your scores if you're cramming and staying up later than you should and not getting a good night of sleep. So get a good night of sleep in the morning. You know, if you're going to do anything study wise, maybe look at your notes, review of, watch a short video on something. But generally speaking, your work is done. I think the most cool, calm, and collected version of yourself, however you get there, and get to the test center on time. Maybe get there a little bit early. Review your notes in the parking lot. It's no rocket science, but I don't think the heavy lifting is done the day before the exam.
Yep,
I'd say.
I agree. I could not add a word to that. That's awesome. Good.
Cool.
Okay. Now let's see. So Raj, how are you doing, my man? Okay. Jen, it's whatever it is, right? You book ahead of time. Don't worry about that. Just go on my website and take a look. Usually 4 or 5 days because I'm doing like 12-hour days. It's kind of crazy. Okay. So there we go. A little love for Achievable. Okay. Ashraf Ahmed. It's good stuff. Okay. Now, okay, Raj, we have to get ready for some music. Hold on. You got to get used to this. So cover your ears, Brandon. It's going to be loud. When we pass, that's what we get when we pass, baby. Now, by the way, that literally that one video, well, I'm demonetized. This video is demonetized, but it's worth it. It's awesome. I think people love to hear that stuff. So, Raj, congrats on the SIE. Did you see any surprises on there? We'll come back to that. It takes a while. Okay. Okay, sorry, you're gonna get this a couple times. Boom. Estuardo, that's awesome. Boom, I love it. See that? Achievable got you over the top. You got the 6 coming due. Achievable has some stuff. Brandon, do you have any videos on the 6 at all yet, or no? Which is mutual fund ones? Or no?
I have mutual fund ones on my channel. So in terms of I don't know if it's worth talking about this, but I no longer write for Achievable anymore. You'll still see my face on there, and the material that's on the system is all, for the most part, my stuff. I've moved on to tutoring, and I'm doing some things for my Basic Wisdom channel nowadays.
What's your website?
It's basicwisdom.net. You can also find me on YouTube. Just look, search Basic Wisdom. I'm the only channel with that name. But yeah, if I only mention that because if there have been any updates to the Achievable program, I might not know about it. But otherwise, still think it's a great program. I'm biased because I wrote all that stuff. But yeah,
that's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. Any recommendations on the 6th coming up April 3rd? If anyone passes the SIE and then they go on to another program or to another test, here's the thing: you have experience being successful with the exam that you just passed. Use all of those things over. Success breeds success. You don't need to do anything that different. Just make sure you're reading all your reading materials and not skipping chapters or just skipping to the end and taking practice exams. The good news is that on the Series 6, a lot of the stuff you learned on the SIE, there will be a lot of overlap there. They'll go further in depth on a lot of the, the investment company stuff, the variable product stuff. But, just continue doing the same practice that you did before. Take enough practice exams. Hopefully you get your scores, to a reasonable range. And I think a reasonable range is usually in the mid to high 70s consistently. Right. At that point, you're most likely going to pass. But yeah, just keep doing the same thing if you are successful in the SIE.
Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of overlap in that. Okay, so Jen, I'm going to give advice here. You missed by 4. So remember something. This is the big thing. Don't think you missed by 4. You need to think you missed by 34%. If you don't think I just need to make up 4%, that's a big mistake when people miss by a little. They think, oh, I just need to eke a question, right? I want you to actually act like you missed by 34%. Again, just bring up the whole thing, try to reread the book, go over everything, act like you're brand new to this. You have anything on that one or no?
No, I agree with that. I think it's tough when you're so close to a passing score. The question is, do I start all fresh? I mean, I think a lot factors into that. Like, how much time do you have to study? What are your commitments? So do you have a lot going on in your personal life? Do you have to work, 40 hours a week? So there's a lot that factors into that. But I generally agree with that advice, Ken. Especially if it's happened twice in a row, it might be worth it to go back and kind of start fresh and fill in those gaps that you might not otherwise be able to fill in just by taking more practice exams. But
Fair
I
enough.
agree. Yep.
I love it. Awesome. Okay. Oh, okay. So Michael, we're going to talk about it in a second, but boom, there you go. A little Michelle Jones love. Okay. So,
Excuse me. Thank you.
And look, Brandon's a humble guy. I'm just going to say this. So I don't think he loves praise. Like, I still think he's still recovering from me talking about how tall he was in June. So it's like, I don't like talking about that. And I won't bring it up, even though I just did. But he's a nice guy and he's a humble guy. So boom. Yeah. Oh, Maria, look at that. Maria's back. Okay. She's on love. But here, Michael is a big fan. I put him on Achievable about maybe a month or two ago, and he's working his way through it, and he's getting there. So
yeah. So the question is, do you think it's wise to do SDC's program also? Maybe just take SDC exams? Yeah. Here's the thing. And I say this as a content writer, or I should say maybe a former content writer. One of the biggest challenges that we have is writing questions that sound like the actual test questions, because the reality is that FINRA, or in this case, NASAA, they guard their question banks like Fort Knox. We get little information on how those questions are formed. Technically, if you take the exam, you shouldn't be, sharing exact questions, according to their rules. But it's very difficult to replicate their language and to make a question sound exactly like what you're going to see in the real exam. So with that being said, I personally think it's valuable to have access to two different question banks. If you have the resources to do it, that's one of the reasons why I'm a big proponent of Kaplan's QBank. You can pay, depending on the program, you spend, somewhere around $70 or less on a question bank. You can access to thousands of questions. I don't think you need a whole other, new program, and you don't need a whole new book or I don't think you need to do the program all over again. But if you're at the end of your, let's say, Achievable, and then you get access to another question bank, at that point, I would say take an Achievable practice final, do a good thorough review, take a whatever other program practice final, do a good thorough review, do that back and forth until you're seeing mid to high 70 scores consistently on both programs, and I'm confident you're going to pass.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I always tell people the perfect combo, and only because STC doesn't sell questions, is to do Achievable and get the Cap and QBank as a backup, and then between both questions, you're going to be ready for this, because the Kaplan's questions go a little too deep, but they do challenge you. So it's good. So you can remember, as I tell everyone, the reason you take tests is to, one, to get used to it, but two, to find your weakness. You're trying to expose where you're not good. So I think that works. Michael, thanks. Okay. So I'm going to do this one, and then you see. So I have a little, here's the thing. I have a little thing on this, and Brandon, if you have a better way too.
No,
so
go for it.
My big thing is, I always say currents are like electricity. So you remember AMP. AMPs are currents like electricity. So I do annual over market price, AMP. Annual over market price. It's AMP. Sean, that's the way I remember it. And I'm not going to say, the thing is, this guy Greg Wright is a student of mine. I was friends with him. I worked with him on the floor for a little bit. So he came up with that, and we kind of worked on it together. So there we go. I have to give him credit. So I told him every time I mention it, I'll mention his name. But I always remember AMP, annual over market price.
Yep. I mean, I love it. Ken, I might steal that from you, but no, that's great. But no, I don't have a cuter way than that. But I just say, with those math-based questions where you're using a formula, obviously you need to know the formula, but you should know what I'm about to say if you go through enough practice questions. But just be aware that the questions that are numbers-based are likely to give you more information than you actually need. Don't feel like you have to use every number they give you in the calculation, because in fact they're I'd say sometimes 1, 2, 3, or even 4 of the numbers they give you on a question might not even be relevant to the answer.
Right. I agree. Yep. There's a way to take a test. Sometimes you can game the answers a little bit, right? Because sometimes you go, if it's a discount, you throw out all the ones that are below the coupon and stuff like that, which is awesome. By the way, you see somebody asked a question about what we talked about. I don't know if you can see it yet, but you will.
Yeah. No, I'm primarily looking at the questions you're bringing up, but man,
It'll show up in a second.
We're getting a lot on the sidebar here. So
yeah.
Thanks everyone for asking questions.
Okay. Good. Let me go. So let's see. Okay, here we go.
Scores went up a bit, but still in the 60s and achievable. What should I do? I feel like I've been studying for forever. I'm going to go back to something that I said before. If you're not thoroughly reviewing those practice exams, and I agree with Ken, I think you should be looking at every single question, even the ones that you got right, primarily for two reasons: A, to reinforce the things that you felt good about and you're confident about, but also B, think about how many questions you're randomly guessing right on that you didn't know the concept of. And if you're just reviewing the missed, you're missing out on the opportunity to build the knowledge on the things you guessed right on. So
100%.
I totally agree. I would even tell you to take notes during your review, periodically review those notes. So, hey, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to take a bunch of notes from my practice exam here. And then before you take the next practice exam, maybe spend 10, 15 minutes reviewing those notes from the last practice test that you took. And that stuff will be front of mind. And beyond that, I don't know if you have any advice beyond that, but I usually find the lack of review is the reason why people's exam scores don't go up.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't add to that. I mean, I will try because I like to talk, but I can't really add to that at all. It's literally just the biggest thing is that they only review the ones they got right.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even think of taking notes during your review. Like some people, I think, do flashcards off the ones I got wrong.
Yeah.
But then they go, oh, don't touch the right ones.
Yeah. I want to caution people on note taking. If after every practice exam you've written 10 pages of notes, you're taking too many notes.
Yep.
That's also, if you're taking notes during the reading and you feel like you're rewriting the book, you're writing too many notes. So just try to keep it short and concise in terms of the notes. You don't have to write a full paragraph on every question that you see. You're just mostly taking your time writing that stuff out. And as we all know, when you write something out, you commit it to memory a little bit better.
Yeah, I'm anti-note, and I'm glad you're saying that. I'm totally anti-note, but it could be because I'm lazy, so I don't want to do that. So I have to try to. I don't like writing stuff, but maybe it works. Maybe there's.
I knew that you and I would have a little bit of a difference in philosophy there, but yeah, I want to just make sure you're not. If it's taking you 10 hours to review an exam because you're writing 20 pages of notes, yeah, you're taking too much. Just bullet points. That's my advice.
Good. I love it. Okay. Now, since you know the material better than anyone else, Prem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am studying for the Series 63 with Achievable. Any tips? I think a lot of people think that people like you and me can have some kind of like magic potion to give them. Here's the advice, and it's gonna be super boring. Read the full book. Don't skip chapters. Read the full book. Take your practice quiz on Achievable. After every single chapter that you read, there is a practice quiz that you take. In addition to that, on Achievable, the system will assign you reviews that it wants you to take on a regular basis. And what those reviews are meant to do is they're meant to, hey, if you saw something like 5 days ago, it's going to present a question to you to keep you up and up on that material so it doesn't leak out of your brain basically over time. So read the full book, take every chapter quiz you take afterwards. Periodically do your reviews in Achievable. When you log into the system, there's a button that says there reviews. It'll say like 150 reviews that you need to do. Periodically do those. When you get to the end of the material, take enough practice exams. Take and review enough practice exams. The great thing about Achievable, one of my favorite features of it was the readiness. Score it would give you. Try to get that number as close to 100% as you can. When I was working with Achievable, what we found is that people who got basically 100% readiness score would almost always pass every single time. So try to get there. Yeah.
Okay. And I agree. He says read the full book. I know that I use a different F word, but it's the same thing. So it works for me. So we got that. I agree. I'm not even touching that. Let's move on. Now,
by the way, Ken, I'm gonna turn off my camera real quick. I just have to plug in my computer. It's gonna die. So
no,
it's gonna take 30 seconds.
Okay. Okay. Jonathan, we got you, right? You're taking it. You're gonna nail. You're taking this 75 with the Q Bank. Listen, guys. You know I don't love Kaplan. It's not my favorite, but I do like them, and I do think that that if you can get a 68 or higher on Kaplan, you're solid because they're so much hard. They're so hard. Okay, they're definitely hard on that. Kaplan is definitely harder than the exam. So if you're 68 or higher, and the fact you got a 75 in the Q Bank, Jonathan, go get drunk. You're good. You're gonna nail this thing. Just take tomorrow off. Just not tomorrow off from testing. Tomorrow from testing, but add knowledge. Go over the crash course videos, and we're gonna nail this thing. We're gonna, Jonathan. I've been following you the whole time.
Especially if it's that mastery exam. I tell people if they get anywhere close to a 70 on a mastery exam, they're doing just fine.
Yeah. No, I know. It's like, I always joke. I swear to God, whoever wrote the mastery exam was fighting with his wife or husband the entire time because he's taking it out on us. Okay. Now, totally Rebecca, agree. I don't know. Here's the thing. I do need a little more info. We both of us help you with the SIE. I have videos. He has videos on his Basic Wisdom YouTube channel. Go check him out too after we're done. Go check out his channel. Okay.
Yeah, something I like about both of our channels is we have those in playlists. So find the SIE playlist and Capital Advantage. Find it on Basic Wisdom. And Ken's is a little bit more robust.
You think on SIE?
I could find out here in a second. It's nowhere close to as many as you have on yours.
No, I don't think that. But you have. I mean, you have. I know you had a good one on. I think a lot of people liked your slobs over bliss one.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think you had and your option ones are free, so it's good. I'm the greedy bastard, so I put them behind a paywall. But a lot of people liked your hedge. I think you had a couple good hedging and spread.
I've in terms of the most robust concepts or the most robust videos I have on specific concept, it would be options. So if you want to go to my channel, you can definitely check that out. But yeah, if I had to guess, I probably have 20-ish videos on SIE related stuff.
Got it. Okay, that works. So Rebecca, if you need specific help, we're here. If not, go check out the videos and we're going to help you out. Also, don't forget, if you join the Facebook group, the FINRA Exam Prep Help from Capital Advantage Shooting literally has 5,200 people in it. I looked it up, 1,200 active people. That's freaking insane. And we have a chat for each single one, each test. Rebecca, boom, you go on either me or if you go on my website, I put Brandon's website on the bottom, but mine's series7exam.org. Series7exam.org. It's pretty. I
just looked it up. I have 34 videos on YouTube for the SIE. So
there you go. That's a lot.
There we go. Yep.
That's a lot.
More than I thought. More than I thought.
Dude, that's funny. Isn't it funny how you think you have less than you do?
Yeah. Yeah. It's we've been doing this for a while, so
I know. It
accumulates. Yeah.
I know. It's just like I don't know how many I have total, right? But sometimes they go, "Oh, do you have a video on this?" I go, "No." They go, "Oh, I just found it." I'm like, "I did a video on that? I don't remember doing it." Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the thing is, you put a lot of strong effort in, and those look solid.
Yeah, I have a video production background, so I feel like I have to put my all. It takes me a long time to make a video. That's you crank them out. I appreciate it. All your videos are quality and they're great. It's just you crank them out. I love I shake my head a little bit when I see the videos of you driving.
I know.
But otherwise,
I try not to do any writing ones. All the ones on driving, I try to do where I don't have to look at the camera.
Yeah. But no, they're great. They're great videos, and I send all my clients to your channel.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I do appreciate it. It's just self-love. You're gonna have to deal with this for the next 45 minutes, guys. Okay, so now, so here's one. Let's see.
Brandon, I actually purchased the Achievable Series 7 course. Missed the 7 on the first try with 66. Should I do an in-person class or one-on-one tutor? Getting burned on studying myself. Yeah, that's a good question. In terms of I think my biggest question for them would be, what did your practice exam scores look like? What were your challenges on the test? I mean, there are a lot of variables here. A tutor can certainly help, but also at the same time, I know this as I'm not a cheap tutor, and I'm sure Kim is not either. So what I try to recommend to people is just, hey, if you're going to hire a tutor can do a lot for you, but a lot of it kind of depends on you as the client, believe it or not. I can't tell you how many times I've had people show up to tutoring sessions with me where the question is, hey, Brandon, just teach me the tips and tricks to the exam, especially for something like the Series 7. I mean, the 7 is so dense and covers
Right.
so much material. Yeah, I can spend an hour teaching you tips and tricks, but I'm inevitably going to end up teaching you things you already know.
Right.
So what I try to recommend to all my clients is, know where your weaknesses are before you even consider hiring a tutor. When you're this is great during the review. If every time you review a practice exam, oh, I'm getting options questions consistently wrong. I'm getting order types consistently wrong. I don't understand municipal underwritings at all. The more you know where your challenging and lower scoring areas are, the more that we can help you as tutors. I don't know if you feel the same way, Ken,
Yeah,
but
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
And it
Sorry.
saves you money too. The more you come in, the less you have to bet. The more you come prepared, the more shit we can get done.
Yeah, for sure. So that would be my biggest advice is, if you're considering a tutor, maybe start with an hour, and bring a list of things that you're really challenged by. And that way we can help you out the most. If you got some use out of it and you have the resources to pay for it, hey, great, go
Right.
for it. Yeah.
So I'm going to add on. If you want to do a class, there are very few in person. I think there's one out by you. That guy. I'm going to butcher his name, like Mitsubishi. I don't know. It's Nakazuno or something like that.
Ken Nakazono.
Right.
He's great.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an in-person class. Other than that, Notman I talked to, they will never do it again. Kaplan doesn't do it. It's easy. And then STC won't do in-person anymore. The other advantage, listen, the other thing is I am telling you, I almost feel like a stalker about study groups, okay? I am telling you, those things are freaking magic. And again, it's all about, they're hard. I create study groups on my website, free ones that are open 24/7. You go on the Facebook groups, you hook up with someone, just share the link from my website, boom, on there. It's free, 24. It doesn't cut out at 40 minutes. And those Zoom groups are good as long as you're active. So that's the other thing. You really need to be in it. And you have to fight with people, argue with people over points. Because if you don't, you're not getting anything out of it.
Yes. And just to stress something when you're in, especially if this is a smaller group, see if you can teach, even if there's a concept that other people are struggling with that you get, see if you can teach it. If you can teach something, you will master it.
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent of study groups. So take Ken up on that. That's an amazing opportunity you all have.
And just find other people. Some people, I know Ivy used to come on here. She would just leave it open during the day and wait for people to pop on. Because if people do that. Okay. Let me move on. I want to try to catch up. I'm only 20 minutes behind. That's a record. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to try to skim. I'm going to jump through a couple of those. Okay.
Go for it.
So, okay, the SIE, two big things you have to worry about. If the STC, don't worry about many details, think big concepts, right? Two big things you have to make sure you know, and I'm only saying that because you're taking it Wednesday. You need to know the investment risks and what the register rep can and cannot do. And an STC, that's specifically 15 through 18 chapters. Chapters 15 through 18, you need to know those. Is there another tip you want to throw in there?
No, I mean, maybe also I think a lot of people either don't know about it or forget about it. Remember that FINRA practice exam, I think will give you a good idea of what FINRA's language is. I don't recommend taking it the day before, or even really close to the exam. Take it maybe a week before the exam, see how you do on their practice exam, review it. But beyond that, I think you're mostly taking that just to see how FINRA words their questions.
Right.
And it's gonna feel a little bit different probably than STC questions.
Yep, I agree.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to ask, K-Cats took it already. So just so you know, I have on my playlist, the practice exam playlist, I have one exam. I'm not going to say how close it is to the exam. It's called 75 questions. It's annoying because there's a lot of bright colors, but it's a really, really good indicator of the wording on the test. I'll put it that way. TJ, I'm just going to say now, anything above a 68 on Kaplan, you're probably fine. I want mid 70s, but if you're in the high, I had somebody who couldn't get above a 62 and then pass the test with these.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I have the same experience with Kaplan. I find that if you get consistently above a 72, is this for the Series 7? Consistently above a 72, I think you're going to be just fine.
100%.
But just as like we've been saying the entire time, good thorough reviews will get that score even higher. But you don't need to get to the 90s by any means.
Nope.
So
I don't I mean, I don't know about you, but I've taken the exams. I'm high 80s at best. Yeah. And I'll get one or two wrong on the real exam, but I'm high 80s at best on Kaplan.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've taken a Kaplan exam, so I wouldn't know, but yeah.
Okay, so good, Nicole, take the 66, but the first thing you got to do is read. Let me move. I'm gonna do a little speed round. Okay, yes, Jamie. I hope you're not on. It's 20 minutes ago. Jamie, I hope you're off my channel. Everyone likes to hear me get the fuck off my channel. So I hope that's what you're looking for. Jamie's gonna rock it. I do apologize. I didn't get my options math video out in time, but if I remember right, you're rock solid on those from those Friday night.
Yeah, if your scores are good, go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Get out of here. Go to sleep. Okay.
Best way to study for the 66. I tested May 7th, took 2 exams and got 71 out of 65. Any tips on how I should be studying? 2 exams for the 66 is not enough. I mean, just most people will start out, in my experience, somewhere in the 50s or 60s in their first few practice exams. It's all about good, thorough reviews, and then maybe in addition to what we've been saying already, if you're identifying that there's a specific area on the exam, for example, let's say on the 66, rules and regulations, almost every single time I'm bombing that part of the exam, that's 45% of your test there. If you're noticing you're scoring low in any particular area, then it's definitely worth it to focus on the area a little bit. And that could mean going back and skimming the book and that stuff. If Ken has a course on some of that stuff, maybe look into it. But beyond that, just take more practice exams and do good.
And I agree. Reviews. Heather just put a good one. No more than 1 test a day. But you can't. 2 is not, as Brandon said, 2 is not nearly enough to even know where you are. Yeah. And if you're taking it on May 7th, you still have 2-3 weeks. You're good. You're in good shape.
Plenty of time. Yeah.
Okay. So here's a little love. We're gonna. I'm just gonna move on from this. Is love Roadoki, loved achievable, and you see now. Remember, guys. Brandon is no longer. It's all good. They're all friendly and all that shit. But Brandon's trying to do new stuff in his life. So he wrote that stuff, and his videos are there. But he's posting most.
But still, that comments like this really warm my heart, because I poured my heart and soul into Achievable for about 6 years of my life. So
well,
thank you, bro.
You can absolutely tell. So
yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Took the simulated exam tomorrow morning. I scored 100%. Took it again the same night, 11 p.m. and scored a 73%.
Second.
Does that make sense to you, Ken?
How many times she took the test?
Oh, okay.
Right? No test. Sean, I have a rule. If the sun's down, you don't take a test. Because I say that, but I know shit happens. I'm just saying, if 1, you don't take more than 1 test a day, and 2, you don't take 1 at 11 o'clock. You don't take anything at night. It's never good. Nothing good. Like nothing good happen. Some things happen late at night, but other than as far as as long as this stuff goes, after 7, 8 o'clock, you're done. Ivy, welcome on. I love it. Okay. Boom. Okay. Kathy, you're gonna hear it. Kevin, I love it. I love it. Pass your. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Here go your ears. Hold on. You got to do a little happy thing. Hold on. Where is it?
Here we go.
A little bit. We'll go a little Madonna.
Another.
Some time to celebrate. Come on, let's celebrate.
Has a request. It's like
love it
when he passes. It has to be a cult of personality.
Yep.
So,
perfect.
Look, Malachi, he's weird. It's like he sees you. He saw you on the videos, and now he's seeing you live. It's great.
Here I am.
Yep. And Malachi's taking it, I think, next week. Okay. Oh, here's good. Raj Patel took it. He took the SAE. Not a lot of surprises. So, right. Sometimes you roll through it. Sometimes you get a good exam, and you prepare, and you're ready. Good stuff. Okay.
The greatest feeling in the world. Yeah.
Boom. Gina, I tell everyone, even if you can afford it, to grab the achievable stuff, because this is what I say, and this is kind of like the questions are good, but I tell everyone, no one explains this stuff better than you're writing. And I do, and again, I sound like I'm blowing smoke up your ass. But the point is, I say this when you're not around. I tell everyone, if you want to learn this stuff, do the achievable. Even if you want to do cap and questions, do that, and then you can always go from there. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree.
And here's Maria. I think she had a good session right before she took it, and she failed it twice. And I think she said the fact that she met with you before.
I remember Maria. Yes. Hi, Maria. Great to see you. Thanks for joining.
I think she said you were the reason she got over the top, because I think it calmed her down and everything. So okay.
Yeah. And if I recall, she, there was a lot going on before her exam. So hey, glad I could be of some assistance. So great.
So Jen, full-time college student, military spouse. You got every okay. This is the classic, the one I call the superhero, right? It's a full-time mom, college student, military spouse, which means the guy, I assume guy is over somewhere else, not around all the time, and you're teaching your own kid. It's crazy, right? How hard, and you have Kaplan. Listen, Jen, Kaplan's good.
Kaplan's great.
You're not, like, if you have look, here's the deal. If you especially for the SIE, if you have Kaplan, Achievable or STC, you don't need another vendor. But I say with the 7, always get a second opinion. Like always get a second vendor. At least, like, if you have Kaplan already, maybe I keep bugging Tyler and Justin to sell just the questions. They won't. I'm pushing them. It's like a going joke for 3 years now. Every time I say, hey, you're selling the questions yet. But the good thing, STC sells 4. You can buy supplemental exams. You buy 4 exams, which are brand new questions, and they're hard. So jump around.
Yeah, I wish more vendors did that, but here's the reality: is that Kaplan does that. And for those of you who need an extra question bank that don't use Kaplan as the primary program, it's a great option.
And I doubt you'll ever run out of questions with Kaplan. They have 4,000. Okay, Malachi, what do you think the weighted is on this? So
for each score in the 7, like the SIE, or of debt, for each score in the 7, like the SIE.
So I think he's saying, like, now SIE, it's like there's a certain percentage for each thing, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of look at I never put. I hear so much variance from clients, in terms of what they see in the exam. I mean, for me, if we're talking about the Series 7, there's 3 staples for me that I hear almost every single time: suitability, options, and debt securities, with a big focus on municipal debt. Those are almost always the 3, and then from there, it just kind of depends on the exam you get.
What falls, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So ultimately, it's you got to kind of go into the exam a jack of all trades. I'd say, but
100%. Now the good thing is everyone freaks. All the vendors, their Muni questions are usually way more detailed than the test. The test is much more about the suitability and the functions of a Muni, not like what's on the 3rd page of the official statement. So when you hear Munis and go, oh my God, I suck at them, think, are you answering the ones that are talking about suitability? If you are, then you're probably in good shape. Okay.
Yeah.
Malachi says, okay, good. Okay. Yeah. There. Malachi and Kathy, they just find out they actually know each other. I'm reading this thing. Kathy goes, oh, Malachi, I know a guy named Malachi who works in California. It's the same person. Pretty small world. Okay. So now we're going to answer this. We're going to talk about this. Okay.
Okay.
We talked about this before. We weren't going to bring it up because you don't want to scare people.
Yeah. Oh, industry going to T+1 on May 28th. And FYI, if you don't know what that means, everything that was T+2 previously will, in the real world, be T+1 on May 28th. When I say everything, is that we're the big thing there, I think, is going to be the stocks. I honestly, I've been taking the time off recently. So maybe this is a question for you, Ken. I mean, with our corporate debt securities, are these shifting to T+1 as well?
Everything is.
Okay. So, will the test be adjusted immediately, or is there a lag? I think you might have a more thoughtful response.
I can say, so this is what I find out, and I'm seeing them like right on June 1st. And the best thing is you get people drunk, they talk, and they tell you stuff. Okay. So here's the deal on this. So I don't think they change it right away. Even if here's the thing, you're going to call FINRA and they're going to say yes, because they're customer service people. Super nice, but they always say yes. Like when they changed something last January, they go, it's on right away. And it wasn't on the test till like June. So here's what's going to happen, so you don't have to worry. All the questions that have T+2 in it, they pull out of the bank. And then they're going to rejigger them. And the only ones they put in will only have T+1. As they won't have T+2 and make you choose. Okay. Now for the year, in about 2-3 years, then they'll put them back in, because you should know by then that it's T+1 versus T+2. But right now for the summer, I think you're safe for the summer, that if it's there, they're not going to make you choose between T+2 or T+1. Makes life easier. Hope that helps a little, Andre. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Brandon, Armina, let's see. Brandon, here we go.
I am testing for the SIE this Saturday. I'm using STC and Past Perfect. On my final exams, I've been scoring anywhere from 66 to 75, my highest. I'm worried I'm not ready. I know a lot more about STC than I do Past Perfect. I will say the one consistent thing I see people say is that Past Perfect is incredibly challenging in terms of their questions.
Yep. And even math is crazy.
Yeah. But hey, Saturday, what's today? Thursday?
Yeah.
You probably have already taken your last practice exam, am I worried I am not ready? I don't know, but Ken, I'm more interested in your response to this because I have to think about it for a second. Yeah.
So here's my thing. They changed Past Perfect around a little bit.
Okay.
But here's my thing. If you're in the mid 60s in STC, I'm not super happy. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the SIE, first of all. So you can make that up in a day. That's easy enough. Friday, you can just add knowledge and be fine. I do think if you're anywhere near passing on Past Perfect, here's how I put it this way. You know enough to pass, Armina. So it's not that you're guaranteed to pass and you're gonna, like, if you were getting 90s, you'd be like, okay, have fun. But you're right there. You have to understand. Okay, you have to understand that believe that you know your stuff. Because if you believe you're confident and you know your stuff, okay, then you will do better on this exam. But maybe, Mina, and I'm stuttering, Armina, let's think of it this way. Review the stuff you got wrong. If it's stuff that you can't follow, okay, if you can't follow the transaction and the question, don't worry about those because the test is not like that. But if it's actual lack of knowledge, then there's some concern there, but then you find out where you're weak. So I'm going to say, do not worry. You are ready, Armina, okay? If you're getting 65 to 66 to 75, you're there because you're passing some. So you're obviously ready. You just need to believe it. And if it's more the Past Perfects that are under 70, I think you're probably fine because they literally make you do yield to maturity. Mm-hmm. And they make you do actual option questions, which there are some in the essay, but not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know, let's see. So they're all talking to each other. That's good. Facebook user, that's a problem. I don't know who this is, but thank you very much. I love it. You're going to nail it. The 66. Okay. Now,
yep.
Mitchell, I love it. Thank you very much. Boom, Edward Jones. I love that stuff. It's good. I love seeing, I got a lot of Edward Jones people, and it's funny. A couple years ago, I didn't know much about them, and I said, okay, they're just another chop shop, right? But I talked to them, dealing with them. They support the hell out of them. They pay them. They give them support. They give them training. They help them close. All this stuff. Not close like to wear. They help them close deals and stuff like that. Super supportive. I think it's some good stuff. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Here we go. Here's a good one. The Howie test.
Yeah. What is the 4-point managed by a third party? Maybe we have a difference in opinion on this one, but when I hear managed by a third party, I hear is if I'm invested in Google stock, for example, which Google's, I guess technically Alphabet stock, but if I'm invested in Alphabet stock, Alphabet, the company is managing Alphabet, and I, as the investor, am not partaking in the management of that organization, if that makes any sense. That's how I interpret it.
It's a third party, just somebody managing it. Perfect. I love it.
Yep.
Okay. Michael has a good thing to say about the mastery exam.
Whoever steps on Lego. Yeah, I have a 2-year-old. I do that almost every day anyway. So
I am so glad I am not dealing with that anymore. That's awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so here's the thing. So this is why, I don't know if you ever see that. I usually do a video, an 8-minute video. We didn't do it because I was trying to figure stuff out, where I go through everything you should do leading up to the exam. When I don't do that, I get these, and I want to help. I get a lot of these. So here's our deal. We both kind of agree. You take a test every day. You review the shit out of it. Do you believe in taking the test the day before or no?
It kind of depends. If I kind of wait, I go back and forth on that one. I ultimately, what I'm worried about is, well, how about this? If the day before, so 2 days before the exam, if you score well on that practice exam, I say you're done. I want you to go into the exam confident, feeling good. And I'll tell you, if you're going to take any questions the day before the exam, do like a small quiz or something. That's my philosophy.
I'm with you on that.
But I think it could potentially, for the right person, especially if your exam is like in the afternoon of the following day, maybe an exam the day before might not be the worst idea.
Right.
But at the end of the day, bottom line, get a good night of sleep, get cool, calm, collected. I'm an anxious person. I've struggled with anxiety my entire life, so I understand the fog of anxiety when it hits you.
Right.
It's gonna be there. The reality is, on the exam, you have a lot riding on this typically. So what I try to tell people actually, my first question for someone that poses something like this is, do you struggle with time on the exam? If the answer is no, if you're finishing your tests on time and you have time to spare consistently, then don't be afraid to just sit in your chair, close your eyes, and just try to maybe meditate and just try to clear your mind, or maybe just get up and take a break, go get some water. And I think just sitting there and pausing and just trying to let go of those emotions that are tied to the exam. If you can do that and you have time in the exam to do so, I try to do that. If it's so debilitating that even that's not helping, it might be worth it to seek advice from a medical professional. There is help out there medically that
Yeah.
you can look into.
Well, on that note, I have a couple, and I'm not pushing this, but I had a couple students, one student in particular who's so anxious, he ended up taking a beta blocker.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't mind talking about it. So
Mhm.
she did it and it helped her. It calmed her down, whatever. And I thought, okay, I'm not telling people to do that. One
Mhm.
of my students' father was a doctor, very conservative. And she said, I'll ask my dad. And if he goes, yes, I'll get it. And he's not going to say yes.
Mhm.
Basically, he goes, sure, what do you want? He said, sure. He'll write the script out and gave it to her. Like he said, there's no downside to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to be eating them for 6 months. You take them for the week up to the test, it
Mhm.
calms you down.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to get there through a doctor. Don't be going to the street and go, hey, so can I get some beta blockers?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
everything you go to a doctor and have them show that you have anxiety, they'll do tests, they'll find out what's wrong. And a lot of times, there's definitely medical people out there who can teach you how to handle it yourself without drugs.
Yeah.
I'm not
Absolutely.
pushing it. I'm just saying that people have used it, but I would say absolutely try to find someone who can help you manage the anxiety
Mhm.
because I don't have that. I don't know why. Because I go into this test like I don't give a shit. And that's why I score well. Well, not that. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm not dumb, but I'm not some super genius, but I do well because I don't
Mhm.
care. I don't worry
Mhm.
about it. And that
Yeah.
really helps. So the other part is the chemical that is anxiousness is the same chemical as excitement. So you
Mhm.
need to start telling yourself, I'm goddamn excited to take this test. Say it to yourself. Don't
Mhm.
say, "Oh, I don't want to be anxious," because we're not that kind of person. Like if I say to you guys, IVR, don't think about elephants. You're now going to see elephants in your head. Okay.
Mhm.
Everyone
Mhm.
now sees an elephant. Okay. So don't think, say, I'm going to pass this. I know my stuff and
Mhm.
convince yourself that you're excited to do it. Now, yes, that's, armchair psychiatry, but it does
Yeah.
help. Confidence helps. And we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
Maybe I'll say one last thing too. The more you can practice the environment of the real exam, the better. And what I mean by that is, I tell some clients, hey, when you're sitting down and taking a practice exam, you don't have access to water. You're timing yourself. You're imagine that you're in that cubicle in the Prometric test center.
Right.
The more you can do practice feel like the real game. I think the less the real game will impact you.
Oh,
But
it's funny. I
yeah,
used to tell people wear like what you're going to wear to the test, wear tight shoes, turn the heat up when you do
yeah.
practice exams. Just create a stressful environment. It's always going to be better than that. I
Mhm.
can't wait to get Laura. Laura's saying some funny stuff on here, and I'm going to get to
Yep.
it. But
Yep.
here's a question. So this is an actual question here instead of a support thing. Okay.
Here we go. Yep. We have a 6% coupon bond selling at a basis, which is typically a reference to yield to maturity
Yep.
of 6.20%. If interest rates in the market decline below 6%, the bond's basis will increase, decrease, stay the same. When it comes to interest rates, I'm going to use I'm going to say basis. I'm also going to just remember that means yield. Replace basis with yield in your questions. I think that'll help. Interest rates and yields go in the same direction. That's why I just try to tell everyone when interest rates go up, yields go up. And that's all tied to one big thing. When interest rates go up, prices of debt securities or fixed income securities fall in the market. The cheaper a fixed income security is that's going to mature at its par value, the cheaper you can get it in the market, the bigger your return. And that's all yield is. Yeah, it's all all what basis is. It's just rate of return. So I don't know if this is a quiz for us to test if we actually know what we're talking about, but but yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
We're good with that. That's a perfect answer. Good stuff. Okay. Um, Okay, so here we go. I'm trying to skip. I can't catch up. Usually in about 9:25 it slows down. But look, we
Okay.
got almost 70 people on here. This is crazy. Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay.
Using SDC and taking the 7 in late May for the third time. Feel I've memorized question answers, getting 90s on the exam. Okay. I love that you're recognizing that, because I can't tell you how many people that I work with that don't recognize that and go to the exam with an inflated sense of confidence that they
Yes.
really
Oh my
shouldn't
God.
have.
I think I know it. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many. I just went blurry there, but I can't tell you how many of my clients have come to me and told me that I scored. I was getting 85s on exams and I failed, and it almost always was because they were memorizing questions and they were getting good at the program's questions that they were saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, quick answer to your question: the best way to solve that, the easiest and cheapest way, is get access to another question bank. Maybe consider getting access to Kaplan's question bank. Your scores will be lower. It's not going to feel great at first, but it's you got to do the work to get ready for the exam. So those are my thoughts.
So a lot of people, like you said, they always say, "Oh, I have it," and you're done. You're now clear. You're not blurry anymore. So now, I thought it was me. I thought I was going blind. So now,
No, it's me.
if you're a lot of people that go, "I'm memorizing," but when I look at the questions, I know I tell myself I know the concept. It's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
You need to see questions you haven't seen before. If you're memorizing answers, you need to get another Q bank, whether it's achievables, STCs, which you have already, buy the supplemental exams, or or get the Kaplan ones. I even think Past Perfect, even Past Perfect sells the Q bank, but that's a challenge. That's a and if you get 90s, then you shouldn't be worried about it, right? You should just jump right into it. Okay. Okay. Here's the thing. Ashrev, mid-70s. You got to be mid-70s on everything. That's an easy one. You want to be mid-70s, especially on the topic exams, mid to high 70s, and anything under a 70, you reread the chapter or watch the video. Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, that one we don't. This is just a comment.
But Kaplan
we all agree. Kaplan is more competent, right? Okay.
Yep.
Now this is interesting. I want to know. I'm hoping to get feedback. Maybe not tonight because we're running behind, but I want to get feedback. I know that Past Perfect and Kaplan are changing, and so is STC. But Past Perfect changed a lot of stuff. I don't know if their questions got better.
I have no idea.
I didn't know why. So I'm hoping to get some feedback.
Big vendors, they're the one that I know the least about, unfortunately. So I couldn't tell you. But yeah, is this a famous brand? I don't consider myself famous, but if you see my face in Achievable or on my channel, it's me. Yeah.
Okay, so TJ, it's funny. TJ did the Nakazona.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And by the way, that's and for those of you who don't know, he teaches in-person classes in the Denver area, technically Greenwood Village, which is just south of Denver. But great classes. I've never met the guy myself, but I always get good reviews.
Is it easy to get there from the airport?
It's probably 45 minutes to an hour from the airport. But,
well, the problem with Colorado, it's just outside the city, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, the airport's northwest of Denver, and Nakazono's south of Denver. So it's
does Denver actually get snowed in ever, or is it just outside Denver?
Oh yeah. Well, do we get snow? Is that
no, snowed in, like locked down.
Oh, maybe like once a year we get a really big snow. Yeah, we definitely get snow here. In fact, we had snow today, believe it or not. But yeah, no, we usually once or twice a year we'll get a good, foot or two of snow, and that's just creates havoc. So, yeah,
I have friends who lived in Christchurch, or I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is, but he goes, our drive to wherever is either 1 hour or 18.
Yeah.
It's either quick or we have to wait for the snow to disappear and for it to melt. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we got a little feedback on the PP from before, the older one, and this one's more straight to the point. Okay, that's good. But I'm always looking to improve the vendors. Okay. I'm always looking to find if the vendors improve on themselves, and then I maybe have to do a new video. Maybe I'll have to get access to it to see how it is. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Let's jump around. Let's see. Is Past Perfect harder than Kaplan? Another person asked the same question. I think, as far as I know, unless something changed, yes.
Yeah.
Especially the math. I think the math part absolutely is going to be harder than that. Weird, 9:30 at night, we jump up almost to 90 people. It's kind of crazy. Okay. 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 This is the thing. Series 66 advice. I don't even know. It's like it's very open, Black Mamba. Here's my thing: read the book, go over the questions. We can't. There's nothing else. Just read the book, and just keep going over the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
And join a study group. I can't say that more than anything else.
Yeah, especially with the 65 that's so broad and covers so many things.
Right.
There are no shortcuts on that exam. So do the work. There you
Right.
go. Mhm.
Okay. Again, same thing with this. Here's I'm going to say one thing, and then there's another question coming up, which I want to hear Brandon's idea on this one. So now, the 6 advice: make sure. Here's the thing. Again, read the book, do the questions, but focus on investment companies, annuities, customer accounts, and communications. Those, Evie, I will get you. We haven't got your question yet. I see the downsides of the TOD. We're going to definitely get to that. I'm starting to catch up a little bit. I'm only 23 minutes behind. Now, Series 6 advice again: mutual funds, annuities, communications, customer accounts. You have to do everything, but those are the ones you have to own, and then you'll be fine. So here's the one from Heather that I like.
How would you say the 66 compares to the 7 test? There is a lot of overlap on the 2 exams. Here's the big thing that's going to slap you in the face in the 66 are all the state laws and regulations, which, the rules and regulations are going to make up 45% of your exam. The vast majority of that's going to be state laws and regulations. You're going to have some new federal stuff you're going to have to learn in there too. But other than that, there's a lot of the rest of the exam. So the other 55% of the exam, I'd say, a huge chunk of that is going to be carryover from the 7, maybe tested in a little bit slightly different way. But overall, I tell all my clients, if you're taking the 7 and the 66, do not spend a lot of time in between the 2 exams. You want to hold on to that 7 knowledge and jump into the 66 as soon as you can. Take a day or 2 off to celebrate for sure, but jump into that 66 as soon as you can.
I agree. Awesome. Now, here's the thing. So someone's a little low. They're in the 65. They get a 65. They haven't studied a lot, and they want to take it in a week. Here's my thing. If you haven't studied a lot, I think taking it a week is aggressive. What do you think?
Well, I have to qualify this because what is a week? If we're talking a week, if I can study every day for 8 to 10 hours, you can probably do it in a week. But if you're like most of us and you have a ton of stuff going on and only study a couple hours a day, then probably a week is a little bit aggressive. But here's the thing. I mean, you from the start, do questions in the Kaplan Q Bank. Your simulated exam scores on Kaplan are going to be your best gauge for how ready you are. And if you're scoring consistently above a 70, I think you're for sure going to pass. If you're not, then maybe think about kicking the exam out a little bit further.
Yep. Okay, there it is. If you're working, maybe push it out. If you can study all day and you can hammer all day, I think it's a good idea. Now, HSA. Let's talk about that.
Taxes. They're so good. You take it, Ken.
Okay. So the big thing is know the difference between the FSA and the HSA. It is literally HSA is health savings, and then one is flexible. The HSA is only for high deductible plans. It's yours. So you actually don't even have to work for a firm to do one. And if you don't use it first of all, the money goes away pre-tax. You get to deduct it. If you spend it on medical shit, it is tax-free also. You can use it medically, tax-free. If you don't use it by the end of the year, you can roll it over. And when you turn 65, then you can use it for whatever you want. You can roll it over and keep rolling it over. There are people who use it as a retirement plan, not testable, but just understand that it's yours. The FSA, totally different. A lot of the same idea. You put money in pre-tax, it's used for medical stuff. But at the end of the year, if you don't use it, you lose it. And it's owned by the company. So I always remember when they first started this, they didn't have a lot of rules on what you could buy in the pharmacy. So in December, everyone's on the floor. We're like, oh my God, we got like $500-600 in this FSA because it just started, I guess. So we went to the pharmacy. We're buying eyeglasses, condoms. We're buying pills, anything we could buy just to spend the money. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. So then they said, no, it's only qualified expenses. But either way, I mean, you can withdraw it, but you pay a penalty and stuff like that. So the advantage is pre-tax withdrawal. You use it for medical stuff. You do not pay taxes on any of that money.
It's beautiful. The benefits of both the traditional and Roth simultaneously. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Okay. Now, jumping down. Okay, here. You did I think you did a video on this. Did you do a video on you did. I thought you did a video on order tickets and confirmations. Maybe.
Well, I have many videos on order tickets. Just I'm sorry, I should say order types. Market order limit, stop limit. But in terms of bond trade ticket, I've been I've been chilling for the last few months. You can you? This
Okay,
is
so
probably
let me
more
take
top
that.
of mind
So,
for you.
okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to go into this. So with a trade ticket, this you need to know on the order tickets are the same thing. You need to know the terms of what it is. Buy, sell, how many, price, if there's a price.
Mhm.
You need to have a time. You need to have the whether it's solicited or not. It's like just like an order equity. You need to know
Yeah.
whether it's solicited or not, and you need to know if it's discretion or not. So here's
Yeah.
the big things you know: order ticket, the terms, buy, sell, all that stuff. Your timed when you got it,
Mhm.
unsolicited or not, discretion or not, and you're
Beautiful.
not going to have commission on it, and you have to have an account identifier. Doesn't have to be the account number, something to identify them, and the name of the agent. I don't know if there's anything I'm missing on that.
No, when I saw bond trade ticket, I always think about trade tickets in terms of stock orders. So,
Right.
I was kind of freaking out.
Yeah,
Is there
I've
something
never
about
seen
bond
that
trade
question
tickets?
before, right?
But
I
I'm
know.
sure
I was like, uh-oh, I panicked a little bit, but I figured.
it's all the same stuff. But
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, but Raj, good. You're gonna nail this stuff. Okay, now, so I'm gonna take this one. Are there more chapters to focus on the 66? There's literally. Here's the thing. As Brandon said, regulations is half the test. The other one that is a goddamn killer is investment vehicle characteristics. That is the one that everyone somehow does worse on, because I think, like Brandon said, they wait too long in between tests, or they go, "Oh, I got the 7. I know the products. I'm not going to worry about it." Don't think that way. I want you to think investment vehicle characteristics are going to kick your ass.
Mhm.
If you do that and treat it with respect, so really, if you do the regs, which unfortunately is like 6 chapters, and
Mhm.
then the investment vehicle characteristics, you're in a really good place.
Totally agree.
Good. Okay.
Mhm.
Here we go. Hold on. D10's Duke. What do we get? We're going to go with a little Pitbull again, I think.
Wanna celebrate, yeah.
Sorry, Steve Miller. Wrong one, but that's okay. Same
Hey.
thing.
It's a song.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay, here we go. So that's what this is.
Kimberly, can you explain why yield the worst for a bond trading and discount will be yield to maturity, and premium yield the worst would be premium for yield for, I assume that means yield to call at the end. Yeah. So here's our 30-second explanation, because I think this is a little bit more of a complex talk, but
Right.
yield the worst is just the concept that, hey, if a client is asking for a quote on a bond and you're giving them the yield, you are required to give them the lower of either yield to maturity or yield to call. Now, if we're thinking bond seesaw stuff, if I'm looking at a discount bond, the lower between yield to maturity and yield to call will be the yield to maturity. Here's the way I think about it: is just, if you're buying a bond at a discount, one of the forms of return that you're obtaining is the discount of that bond itself. So if I buy a bond for $900 and it matures at 1,000, 10 years later, for example, that's $100 I'm making on the bond. If your discount bond gets called before the maturity, you're earning that discount faster, which is going to increase your annualized return on that bond. And you can kind of put it upside down with a premium bond. If I buy a bond at $1,100 and it's going to mature at 1,000, I'm losing $100 over the life of that bond. And if that bond gets called sooner, if that bond gets called before maturity, then I'm now losing that premium faster. Therefore, my yield to call will be lower than the yield to maturity. I went through that way too quickly. It sounded confusing as I was saying it,
I think
but
it was good. So I'm going to
there it
add one
is.
thing, not clarify anything. I'm just going to say, think about why they do that. You're going to give the person the worst situation.
Mhm.
You try to give them the worst situation, so that's the worst case scenario. So hopefully they do better. So you're always going to give them the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. See, Laura got it.
And that's hypothetical. And I will say this, because I get quite questions about this all the time. If the bond has been, if a call has been announced, it doesn't, that the bond seesaw stuff, throw it out the window. You give them the yield to call if we know that a call is going to occur.
Yep.
So if
There you go. Good stuff.
Perfect.
So Ken's, we got it. We're ready for you, right? Boom, you're gonna nail it. We're giving you the good vibes on this shit, right? Ken's, you're gonna nail this thing. So next Thursday, you're gonna come on here and we're gonna play a song for you, which is awesome. Good. Okay. Now, where's Laura? Okay. So Laura's going to the strip club day before the test to take the edge off. Good for you.
That's one way to get cool, calm, and
And
collected,
then look
I
at
guess.
this, and Kathy says they have good ginger. They have the best lemon pepper chicken wings. I didn't even know strip clubs had food. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, the ones in Portland in particular, Portland, Oregon, have quite the cuisine. We'll say that.
There you go. Okay.
I may or may not have experience there.
And here, this is look, this is it. The anxiety is a thing. So you give advice. That's good stuff. I love it. Okay.
Mhm.
And then let's see, we're going, okay. Here's one that shows up. I've been hearing it a lot. The TOD, transfer on death account.
This is an interesting one. Downsides.
No, and I've heard the answer, and I disagree that it's a downside.
Well, tell me, what is the answer?
So
Because
the answer
I don't
is
have
that
the
it
answer.
supersedes a will.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Well,
I don't think that, because if you ever, so I would say if I say I'm going to give my entire family all my money, and then somehow my TOD account is for my son, and if I die, he gets all the money, they get nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I used to work in an inheritance department when I worked in the industry, and just to me, TODs are not. If you understand what it is and how it works, it's nothing but benefits. But I get it. If I don't know otherwise, and I list someone as a beneficiary in my account, which makes it a TOD account, and then 10 years later I forget about that and I write up a will, that TOD is always gonna trump the will every time. So
there you go. Look, and everyone has gone through the other answers, and the other answers don't make sense. So remember, we don't actually know what the answer is, but it's the one. It's the other answers, and they gave it to me was just moronic. So I said it has to be that. And remember, guys, that's a valid strategy. Even if you don't know an answer, you don't want to spend an hour on it. But if you see 3 answers that look stupid, then it's a non-stupid answer.
Exactly. Perfect advice. If you can identify the 3 wrong answers, that's just as good as you knowing the right answer. Yep. Beautiful. Love it.
Good. Okay, this is, I think, Sean's taking the SIE. Best units, as I said, what the register can and can't do, and investment risk. Again, it's only because you're taking it in 2 days. And she drinks Nani to calm down, which is good.
I don't know what that is, but sounds good.
Yeah, so I'm not promoting any. Oh, hey, drink Nani. Okay, so now
we are not sponsored by Nani.
Okay, and now we're going crazy. Okay, this is it.
I wore my pink Power Ranger hoodie the second time I took an SIE and passed. So guess who's rocking a pink? Yeah, hey, if it works, then it works, and don't fix something that ain't broke. Is that how they say it? Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There you go. So
I had a guy who wore a suit and tie every time he took it.
Cool. Hey,
and he said it made him feel strong, which is good. Who cares how you do it, right?
Yeah, whatever makes you feel the best, for sure.
Okay, this one, they won't do this. So yeah, there's no Series 7 exam, practice exam like they do for the SIE. I think it's because the SIE is the first time you're seeing their wording, and they want you to get used to it a little bit. With the 7, they expect you to know your shit.
I really wish they did. That would be awesome, but it's only.
I know they'll never do it. Okay. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Vince, I agree. The Past Perfect math stuff is brutal. So I always tell people, check your score and carve out anything with complicated math and rescore yourself. See if it's him. See you know what I said? See if it's it, because this is what I read right after I was talking. When somebody says that, Brandon, that's Maria.
Hey again, Maria. Good to see you again, Maria.
So now, Michael, what he did one time is when he fooled me on my Zoom group. He didn't put his camera on. He put your name on there. And he came out, but he said it was funny. He thought he was being hilarious. At first I thought, wow, it's coming on. I was going to introduce you, but I'm like, no, it's
maybe I'll randomly show up again.
Kansas, how far is Colorado Springs from you?
About an hour.
Okay.
Yeah. Or if you're on a motorcycle, that's there was a viral story recently. The guy rode from Colorado Springs to Denver in like 15 minutes.
Oh yes, I remember you talking about it.
And he got arrested. In fact, he got extradited from Texas. He was in Texas after it. He posted the video to YouTube, got in a ton of trouble. Right. But yeah, I think he got from Colorado Springs to Denver in like 15 minutes or something like that. You're
gonna break the law, don't record it.
It's insane, but no, it usually takes an hour or so.
Okay. There you go. Okay, let's see what else we got. We're starting to catch up. I'm only about 10 minutes behind now. Okay. Usually at the end, it starts slowing down. Okay.
So Ken, scoring average on PPP, 80 average on PPP. Go take the exam now.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you focus on? I love Achievable SIE 6. I love the platform. Hey, cool. Hey, thanks for using Achievable. I appreciate the kind words there. But hey, if you're scoring 80s on Past Perfect, unless you're cheating on those exams, you're ready. Go take it.
Nothing to add. Yep. This is what I tell everyone to do right before the day before the exam. Read customer accounts, opening customer accounts, because that's low hanging fruit and it's easy stuff. And I said the worst feeling in the world is taking a question and go, I used to know that answer. So you want to make sure you read them and make sure you know it. Not knowing something is one thing, but saying I used to know it like 3 weeks ago is bad. Okay. There you go. There you go, Laura. Oh, see, Laura was hitting on me for the last 6 months. I'm out now. She pushes me right to the side like I'm a piece of meat. That's okay.
Thank you.
That's
I
all right.
appreciate that, Laura.
And is Reed the name of Nakazona? Is that his first name, I guess? Okay.
Reed Nakazona. That
Got
is
it, okay.
his name. Yes.
Okay. Now here's Maria.
Do you have any memory aids for the formulas and how to recognize which to use for what exam? That's
She's taking the 66.
the 66. Man, I really liked your current yield thing, but for the 66, I don't hear a lot of. Most of my clients come back to the exam telling me I didn't do many, if any, formulas.
Yeah.
So
It's just
I
no.
wouldn't sweat them. Yeah.
Right. I know.
Maybe some of the I am hearing maybe this is more for the 65, but I am hearing more, people are saying more like fundamental analysis, like the current ratio type questions, but yeah, I wouldn't stress about formulas on the 66. Know your rules and regulations inside and out. Know your investment vehicles.
Yeah, the formulas will be a couple and spread out, especially on the 66.
Mhm.
A lot of it's just knowing kind of where they are. But the thing about fundamental, as I tell everyone, we're dumbasses. They literally say what it is: PE, price over earnings, earnings per
Mhm.
share, earnings per share,
Yeah.
price to book, price to book. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're not asking the enterprise value, which who knows what the hell that is. It's
Yeah.
voodoo math.
Exactly.
Most of the time, it's in the name, which is good. Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Well, he'll put some. Here's some love. I'm going to keep them up quick. You can read that real quick.
Achievable for capital for SIU 67, 63, and hopefully Series 65 on the 30th. Thank you both for everything you teach us. Hey, thanks for thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that, and I'm glad that the programs are working for you. Awesome. Yeah.
And then same thing. Boom.
Total
You got
game
it.
changer.
I don't know if it's the same person or not.
Beautiful.
Okay. Okay. Here we go.
Series 7, what is the record keeping requirement for customer statements for not account record? Passport says 6 years. Achievable says 3 for statements, 6 for account records. Oh my God.
Here's my thing.
I want to hear it from you, Ken.
I can't find statements on there. And this is the only reason I say 6. I use an acronym BIG SACs, right? Santa carries 6 BIG SACs. B for blotter, G for general ledger, S for stock records, C for customer information, and S for statements.
Yeah.
This is the only reason, and because I can't find statements anywhere, it says if they don't mention it, it's 6 years.
Yeah, and I think that kind of makes sense. Just if you really want to know my thoughts on this, you can probably find this through Google, but on Achievables talk forums, it's a talk.achievable.me. I did a deep dive on this. I probably wrote a 2-page blog on my thoughts on this. And I cited different parts of FINRA rules and why I thought it was what it was. I mean, but
it doesn't say it, right?
It's been forever since I've done a deep dive on this. I couldn't tell you my reasoning for writing it for that way, but there was a legitimate reason, and maybe I can find it before we're done.
I'm less worried about it.
Yeah.
My thing is, if anything, it's one question, and normally I don't think it's more about the bigger shit. Planes, AML, stuff like that.
And one thing I remember looking at, and I was just, I did all this research myself, but then I also wanted to check some of, the Achievables competitors to see what they were saying. And if I recall, I think STC agreed with my analysis of it, but Kaplan didn't. So there's definitely a split there. But I tell people, if you ever see vendors teaching things differently, we're probably on a really niche topic that's not important at all.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
It's probably something that won't be tested too much.
Yeah.
Good. She liked your tip on the call feature, which is good. Okay.
Cool. Awesome.
We're catching up. We're starting to catch up. Okay. Now, so I won't keep it too long. So now, variable annuity. So my answer, and then I'll let you answer. Never. When would I recommend a variable annuity? Never. Okay. But really, if you have to, and there's a gun to your head, I would say under 50. What do you think?
I think, what does FINRA want to hear there? Because I think there are legitimately some questions where they are, here's a scenario, what do you recommend? And a variable annuity might be the answer. I try to tell people, you're not recommending it to someone who's elderly, because you got to get some use out of it. You're just, maybe someone in their 50s, someone where it's clear that they're maximizing their contributions to other retirement plans. Like, this person is maximizing their contributions to their 401k, and they're also maximizing their IRA contributions, and they still have retirement money left over that they want to set aside, then maybe a variable annuity would be good for that type of a person.
Dead on. I love it. I'm not touching that one. That's perfect. Okay. Again, we always get these. You might have missed it. If you're taking a test before like June, don't worry about the T+1. Assume that it's C+2 unless they say otherwise.
Yep.
Okay.
Ken
Again,
will get the
same
inside
question.
scoop for you eventually.
We'll
sorry,
get
go
it.
ahead. Is there any, oh, it's the
Uh,
same question.
Now, Gina was on my class today. So I was doing the SIE class, and Gina jumped in because just so you can work on the investment vehicle stuff. So I see, Gina, you see me in Philly, then you see me here. How great is that? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
answer
Laura,
your
I'm not
question,
doing the
no.
beard. Oh,
Yeah.
say it again.
I think she was asking if there was a practice exam for the
Yeah,
65.
I just got and I just
No,
went by and made it about
no,
myself, right? Okay.
no.
So
Well, and the answer is no, right?
yeah, there's
I
none.
assume she means from NASA.
Yeah.
No.
The only one they do it for is the SIE because it's your first time. Although
Yeah.
technically they could do it for the 65, but NASA isn't always so helpful with that stuff. Okay.
No,
And
no,
here's
no.
the thing: anecdotally, let me ask you. I found, and I remember I talked to the one girl there. I said, "You're when we were down there,
hmm
7." I think the difference between a hard 7 and an easy 7, there's a range, but it's not ridiculously different.
hmm
I think the 65 and 66, the range between the easy ones and the hard ones is a vast percentage. I think it's way more
Yeah.
than what they do with the 7. They deny that, but
Yeah, I mean, the frustrating part for me is I neither FINRA or NASA will will explain exactly. You got a dog there, huh?
yeah.
Neither organization will explain exactly how they curate and create their exams or score their exams. It is my understanding that FINRA does factor in difficulty into your exam score. So if you get a really difficult exam, they might give you a few points. They scale the exam for difficulty. I don't know exactly how they do it. I don't know if NASA does that, but yeah, I hear a lot of variance on NASA exams. Some people will say it was easier than they expected. A lot of people will say, yeah, man, that was a tough one I just took.
Some people go, "It's the easiest thing in the world," and some people go, like I've had people who are barely passing, and they go, "Oh, so easy." Then I have
Mhm.
some people who are like killing it, and they go, "I passed, but it was like pulling teeth the whole time."
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's crazy how it's so different.
yep.
So good to know that Past Perfect is moving away from the math a little bit
Now
and more
remove all
toward the
the math
concepts. I like
nonsense.
that. I'm happy
Yeah,
about that.
they took some feedback. Good for them.
Yeah, finally. I've been only bashing him for 3 years. Okay.
hmm
GT Noah. Okay, no reason to be nervous. You shouldn't be on her unless you're on the West Coast. You shouldn't be on her anymore. Get some sleep. Maybe go watch my 63 Quick and Dirty. Get some sleep. As long as you're good with the prohibited activities and ethics, you're fine.
Yeah.
Just nail this thing, Noah. No
Yep.
reason to be nervous.
Yep.
Okay. He has a question after this, but let's go with this one.
Let's consider client custody of money or securities. Mentions being in a partnership, having full power of attorney, having trading authority, being managing member of an LLC. I assume this is a NASA question here.
Yeah.
But custody oftentimes meaning that you have access to. Another thing to kind of keep an eye out for too. I think they mentioned this with full power of attorney. If you have the ability to withdraw funds out of your client's account, yeah, that's totally going to give you custody of their assets. I think they kind of having trading authority, having limited trading authority typically doesn't give custody, if I'm recalling my
Nope.
material there. But other than that, I think they're kind of nailing it there. I don't know if you're mentioning, if I'm forgetting anything here, Ken, but
So I don't know if it's I'm trying to think if it's full power of attorney. Absolutely.
yes,
The trading
absolutely.
authority doesn't unless you can move the money, which is full power of attorney.
Mhm.
I think they're asking which one of these would be custody.
Oh, okay. So this is a question. Okay, gotcha.
That's what I
So
think.
it's an ABCD question here.
Yeah.
I got it. So having full power of attorney should be the answer there.
Yeah, that's a layup question, right? Yeah,
There you
when
go.
you say Ulysses, you're like, okay, well, I guess you can say it'll be mentioned in the partnership, but that doesn't give you custody. It's literally
Yeah.
like you said, full power of attorney. If you can
Yeah.
touch the money, that's custody.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, here we go. This is an easy one.
With regard to 63, does the broker dealer file with the state or the SEC? The broker dealers register at both levels, right? They
Yeah.
register with the SEC and they register with every state in which they are doing business in.
Yep.
So the answer to your question is both.
Awesome. So it's not an either or, it's a yes.
Yeah, it's the investment advisors where you really have to worry about which one they're doing it with.
Correct. And what's the rule on SEC? When do they register with the SEC?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Oh, when do they register with the SEC?
I know what it is. I want to hear them hear you say it.
When they I don't know what you're
Okay.
looking for there, to
So
be honest.
assets under management.
Oh,
So-
are you talking about investment advisors?
Yes.
I thought you were asking for broker dealers. I'm like,
Oh, no,
when
no,
they,
no,
when
no,
they, no, with investment advisors, it's 100 million to 110 million makes them eligible to register with the SEC. Once they're above 110 million of assets under management, then they have to. There's also some other things on the periphery there that require them to register that is outside of just AUM. For example, if you're an investment advisor to a registered investment company, you have to register regardless of the AUM amount. So, but there you go. Sorry, I misunderstood your
I know.
question.
I wasn't being clear. It wasn't a
No.
gotcha. I was trying to see what you got.
Yeah.
Heather, thanks. I feel that's great. I love it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you guys think that 66 is more than just memory? What is good score to aim for before the testing? You can take this question. Sounds like I stole it from you.
No. I wasn't even gonna say anything. But it's literally, I think like what as Brandon said before, maybe. Right? Some question. I have a glossary video, the 8-hour glossary video, which will help you. But a lot of it is just some of it's memory, but some of it's you got to make some suitability questions. But a lot of it is memory.
Yeah, totally. Especially the rules and regulations are a lot memory, but there's some conceptual things in there. For example, if you don't truly understand what an investment advisor is, that's going to get you in some trouble. But for the most part, a lot of memorization there. Yeah.
So Guy says achievable is better than 80 banker, which is good.
Well,
so I guess that's a double thing.
Yeah,
So
better than 80 banker.
By the way, that's a low bar. That's not really. There are two vendors that I have zero issue not saying nice things about: ExamFX and 80 banker. Everyone else there's always something good about it.
I try to say nice to everyone. I don't know much about 80 banker, but thank you for the kind words. How about that?
Okay. Statute of limitations. You want to take that or me?
Why don't you take it?
Okay. Yeah. So statute of limitations for the 66 is how long you can actually take an action against someone. So it depends. If it's criminal, 5 years, I think. So if criminal, it's 5 years. If it's civil, which is not unethical, unintentional, what's the other word? Unintentional, coincident, not intended to do, unethical. That's going to be 3 years from the event, but no more than 2 years after you figure it out, Michael. So 3 years from the event. So if I screw you over today, you have 3 years to come after me. But once you figure it out, it goes down to 2 years. But it'll never be more than 3. So if you figure this shit out in 2.5 years, you only have 6 months until the end of the 3 years. That's pretty simple. Okay.
Beautiful. Okay. It was quick. Yeah.
I don't know what they mean by agency. Do they mean understand U.S. government agency? For the SIE, very high level.
Yeah. I mean, we're just basics of the mortgage agencies. Maybe a little bit about the farm credit system. I mean, a tiny bit, right? So and so the weird thing, Sallie Mae is technically a private institution now, right?
But
so it's just
government sponsored entities. That's what
yeah. But overall, I'll put it this way: I've never had anyone come back from the SIA and say, "Geez, I wish I studied the agencies a little bit more for the SIA."
No one. I literally have a mental block for the farm. Like if you ask me about the farm credit stuff, my eyes glaze over and I go, "I can't do it." Right?
Yep.
And I've never ever had a problem.
Yeah. Know the mortgage stuff. Know a bit about the mortgage stuff, a tiny bit, but on the 7, I think you'll need to sharpen it a little bit more there. Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing is he's agreeing with us. If it goes below 90, they get kicked. But here's the interesting thing. You have 180 days for if you go under 90, they literally want you to stay SEC. If you go under 90, if you start federal and you go under 90, you have 180 days from the end of the year to pull it. So if you say your year is January to January and you go under in February, you literally have to the following July to pull it. So if you get back above, you're fine.
Beautiful.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. An hour and 20 minutes. A little longer than we expected.
Hey, we got a lot of great questions. And no, thanks for everyone who showed up, and glad we could help a little bit there. This was fun, Ken.
I know. I think it was definitely fun. I think we worked well together.
I think we did too.
I'm definitely going to invite you back if you have time, and we'll go from there.
I would love to.
Okay.
I'm not working as much as I used to, so just let me know. I'm happy to
make
jump
sure
on
it doesn't
anytime.
Do the other stuff and all that stuff. Listen, I'm telling you right now, enjoy your kid while you can.
I
Because
will.
at some point they're going to say bad things to you, and you're going to be hurt for 10 years.
Yeah, no,
And it gets better. I
oh
promise.
man, I have a 2-year-old daughter right now, and she just learned how to say "I love you," and just she's all about hugs and love. It's just
It breaks
it's
like it
beautiful.
breaks like I have the 2-year-old granddaughter, and it's like she breaks my heart every day.
Yeah,
In a good way.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they actually are excited to see you. It's great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So no, I
Cool.
will definitely
I love
enjoy
it.
this time. I know time is fleeting, so yeah. But
Listen,
yeah,
okay, guys, everyone, thank you very much. This again, the two main favorite nights of the week are Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm so happy with this, and we're gonna get out of here with a little loud noise.
Clap your fingers, do you still? You can do it all by yourself. Let me see you do it.